In number 8, we are again trying to figure out if this is a right triangle or an acute or an obtuse triangle based on the lengths of the sides given to us, and we're going to use the Pythagorean theorem and set it up as if a squared plus b squared really is equal to c squared. That's the Pythagorean theorem, which only works with right triangles. So if this is a right triangle, that's going to be true. But we're trying to see if that is really true. If it's not true, if one side is larger, for example, if this side is larger, the triangle must be acute. If this side ends up being larger, then it's going to be obtuse. Okay, so let's plug values into this, and the first thing we really want to identify is what the longest side is. And if you need to plug this into a calculator, you'll find out that 4 times the square root of 10 ends up being a little bit more than 12. Okay, so it does mean that this side down at the bottom, 14, is our longest side. Okay, that's important because that's really our C value, our C side. In other words, if this thing ends up being right, that'll be our hypotenuse. Okay, so 14 is our C value, and we're going to square it. Once we get that, the other two sides, doesn't really matter which order you put them in. I'll use the 4 times the square root of 10 first as our A side, and we're going to square that. And then we'll use our last side, 6 squared, as the B side. And now we just need to go through the algebra of this to see if those sides really do balance, or if one side is larger than the other. So when I take 4 times the square root of 10 and square it, what I'm really doing is taking 4 squared, which is 16, and multiplying that by the square root of 10 squared, which is 10. And altogether 16 times 10 is 160. And then I go on to my next term, which is 6 squared. That's 36. And then 14 squared is 196. Okay, when I add these together on the left-hand side, that ends up being 196, which is the same as 196. That means we've got an equation that truly is balanced on both sides. In other words, we can say that the Pythagorean theorem worked here, which means this is a right triangle. Okay, and since this side over here was our hypotenuse, that means across from it is where you would have found that right angle.